stolen ultimates. I think he is a very good heads-up player. In a lot of these situations, he can see creative ways to use this champion that has so many options. Sylas is a super high skill cap champion because of all the mobility built in, as well as the different options with your ultimate choices.
And we're going to see another high-tier jungler locked in for the side of 100 Thieves. It's Jarvan picked up there, along with a lot of priority being placed on the AD carry position, picking up that Ezreal nice and early for Bang.
All right, Bang gonna have that very mobile back line. It always feels so nice to be on Ezreal, you know, in these games where it is do or die. You can fend for yourself. You can build more defensively as well. Aatrox immediately locked in for OpTic though. That's been one of their biggest for Dhokla. Playing even on the weak side without jungle attention, he's actually been successful playing 1v2 situations. We'll see if they can do it in their time of need.
Popping off for the second time in one day would definitely be something to do in a day like this where so much is on the line. But the Braum is going to be picked up here for OpTic, getting themselves some tankiness, some ability to disengage, some CC there too in the bottom lane. Let's see if 100 Thieves want to continue here picking up a support against their opponent's support, or if we're going to see one of those solo laners show up. Or it could be any of the above.
Yeah, Karma definitely can be flexed around. So Karma can easily be in support alongside Ezreal with a poke-heavy bottom lane, but fairly high probability that is a solo lane Karma. Meanwhile, on the other side, I do like that Braum pickup into the Ezreal. You can block the ultimate. A lot of the skill shots come down, and Braum is pretty good for these team fights. Really, what you want to do is create some space for the Aatrox. You basically section off the team fight. If you can get a good ult there with Braum, it really sets up big AoE Aatrox damage.
And we know that that top lane Karma can build AP heavy, you can get tanky if you want to, you can go
Ardent
more
Sensor.
support type items. Ardent Sensor not having quite as much synergy with a carry like Ezreal as opposed to a traditional attack speed, auto attack based AD carry, but still always nice to have these different options available for FakeGod there in that top side if he ends up being the one on the Karma. But as we're looking at bans, neither side has a mid laner. Both sides are targeting that mid lane pool. Keeping Crown off of Zoe is a very good idea for 100 Thieves. OpTic are saying they don't want Ryu on TF.
Yeah, Ryu's also been one of the big roaming mid lane players. It's been a large part of 100 Thieves' strategy. They have put a lot of focus on moving around the map, especially towards the bottom lane, because Bang and Aphromoo have been performing a lot better as the summer's gone on.
All right, what's the last ban going to be here? OpTic. Kai'Sa's not available here any longer. They don't want some of that superpower late game scaling coming in there with that champion. One more to go, and Victor. Crown loses one of his own signature picks just to make sure Ryu's not able to use it either.
Yep. Let's see what they get on the backside. There's so many options. I mean, poke is a really obvious choice right now for 100 Thieves because they already have two strong poking champions, the Karma and the Ezreal. The one thing you mainly worry about if you're drafting heavily into poke is super hard engage.
Yes.
That's what your opponents will always look for. So they can get past that poke and force team fights on you and try and break you down.
Oh, baby.
Oh my goodness, we get the Bard. This is 914 Bard with the buffed up stats. And it is gonna be Aphromoo Bard. He has YouTube highlight videos with this champion.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to it. That ultimate is such a good setup, especially on a team that is poke heavy. You'll be able to line up the timings for your teammates to try and combine for those kills.
Such a trademark pick here for Aphromoo. So much faith from the team being placed in his Bard ability. OpTic are going to go ahead, pick up the Tristana here for themselves. We've been seeing so much of this champion in solo lanes. What is the final pick here going to be? Remember, the Tristana could also still be played in AD carry position. It's unlikely.
Yeah, we'll find out in a couple seconds here. I
Yeah,
bet.
we only got 5 seconds left before they have to reveal the final card in hand, and it will be Rek'Sai there for the jungle.
Solo lane Sylas then, as they're going to rotate the Sylas. In the current form of the game, a lot of times they'll assume that it is in the jungle because that has been the primary usage. But with Sylas, especially on 914, shifting the shield into magic damage, this Sylas wants to find that Karma lane, and it's actually a pretty easy lane to farm out. And with Meteos on one of his signature champions, the Rek'Sai, he has terrorized solo queue in Challenger with Rek'Sai, by the way. It's very, very strong as far as the early ganks, but a last pick here from 100 Thieves, locking another strong lane with the Renekton to look to try and counter this Aatrox. You basically dash past one of the Q's sweet spots and go all in using your Empower W to force the Aatrox back without the possibility of reviving off a kill off of anyone else. Basically, Renekton just wants to one-up you in the all-ins.
Renekton, a very powerful all-in champion, as we've seen. Whenever this champion finds himself a spot in the meta, he's always one of those top laners that you have to check your pick against. Can I deal with Renekton because of the strength he has as one of those early game bullies? But OpTic Gaming, 100 Thieves, the drafts are done. The big pick I'm still looking at is this Bard for Aphromoo.
Oh, baby.
Bard is one of my favorite champions to watch because he's one of the champions that can make the most plays in a single game of League of Legends, or he can grief your team harder than you ever dreamed if his timing and his placements are off.
Yeah, generally the designers try and design champions so that you cannot impact your teammates in a negative way. But Bard is one of the ones
broke the mold
that you can because there is not really a way around it. That stasis is going to lock no matter what.
These fans in the audience saying, let's steal that last spot. We'll see if they can get away with it or if OpTic Gaming are going to put an end to their crime spree right here, right now. Tiebreaker number 1 is underway, and we're on the Rift.
Big buffs, remember, by the way, for Bard on 914. Base health increased by 40 HP. That's straight up at level 1. Much more of a bully, and Aphromoo looking for some aggressive level 1 plays here alongside the rest of 100 Thieves as Amazing and Bane get in. Crowd cheers for the ward kill. That is money in the bank.
Best believe. Already one CS onto Amazing there. The Jarvan off to a nice start. But nobody from OpTic is going to hang around in the jungle, risk getting bound together or bound to the wall by the power of that Bard Q. Instead, it's 100 Thieves taking over the bottom side of the OpTic jungle.
And because of the base health increase and the base health regeneration of Bard increase, Bard looks to get into early skirmishes. So we'll see if Aphromoo plays very aggressively. You want to trade for damage. You want to harass very effectively, especially since it's an Ezreal Bard lane. A lot of damage poke can come out, and they're just camping in that red side. Looks like it's going to be a red trade. Ryu expects this for 100 Thieves. He's going to try and at least throw some Qs in there for some damage as meteos steals away the counter red here, and it will be a red for red trade. Oh, FakeGod runs up.
Coming in as well. Meteos will manage to smite the camp away. You don't want to take this 2v2 if you're 100 Thieves because Meteos is already level 2. He's got a red buff. It's not a good place to be. Amazing is going to go ahead, clear through the bottom side of the OpTic jungle here on the Jarvan. And look at the summoner spells in bottom lane. Worth pointing this out. Arrow has TP. Big's default summoner spell, he did take summoner spellbook, is Exhaust, and Aphromoo has Ignite. It means there's a lot of kill potential with no heal there for OpTic.
And I really want to highlight this strategy from 100 Thieves. They are splitting the map right down the middle. You can see that when you invade the level 1 jungle like that, you basically split up all of these jungle quadrants, and that allows this bottom lane with the Ezreal Bard for them to just go all in on harassment. There is no way that meteos is below that yellow line I just drew on the mini-map. He has to be top side of the map because they're splitting jungle camps, and this allows a lot of aggression, resulting already in this Ezreal Bard pushing the Tristana under lane, trying to deny some of these minions to the tower, and should stack up some turret plate damage. This is the entire story of this draft, 400 Thieves, and I like that they're playing around it. That does mean that FakeGod on the top side will have to play the weak side of the map.
Yep.
So Renekton, don't go for any aggressive plays out in lane, because Meteos will be there to gank you.
I mean, when you look at 100 Thieves and look at how this team has evolved and changed since they made the roster swap, since they brought in Ryu and FakeGod as opposed to having Someday and Soligo, you've seen a lot of the economy of the team shift towards Bang as opposed to the solo lanes. This is a team that's used to playing around this bottom lane, winning through Bang's carry potential. FakeGod's no stranger to being the man playing the weak side of the map, so I like this strategy from 100 Thieves.
And look at that. This is exactly what we're talking about. Brute force on the bottom side. Aphro and Bang already 3.5 minutes into the game take a turret plate and they've been able to deny so much CS. It's 7-23 at the moment in that bottom lane. They want to isolate that matchup as much as possible. And now both junglers getting off their first recalls here. Amazing goes back after the crab.
FakeGod finding himself a nice trade against Dhokla here as well. Even if he's on weak side of the map, he's still playing a strong laning champion, taking advantage of those windows when he can find them. We know Meteos is nowhere nearby. There's not exactly a lot of vision protection for FakeGod though, so if he's going to get this lane pushing, he wants to just get it pushed out and then get the hell out of town, because that Meteos gank is always a threat to be aware of. You can see Amazing now working his way down the top lane as well, going to clear out that top side of the jungle if there's anything to take. Walks past his Krug camp, sees nothing there, and he'll continue marching south. Yeah,
and I just want to highlight once again, what 100 Thieves and Amazing have done. Yes, you see this one Raptor that was left here. Meteos does a good job. He counter jungles, he leaves one small Raptor. The exact same thing was done by Amazing on this Raptor camp here. As you can see, that just delays the respawn of that camp, so that the extra experience will come a little bit later for both of them.
Good counter jungling being done. Of course, Meteos' Krugs have respawned by now. We saw Amazing take those right after the red buff. He did want to clear the entire camp because it's worth so much EXP and gold early. But now Arrow's going in here. Bang gets the explosive charge strapped to his head, but considering he doesn't take much damage after that, it's not going to proc for a whole lot. Returns the Mystic Shot onto Arrow here as well. And despite that early CS deficit being very extreme, we were checking in on that also while there were still plenty of minions for OpTic to farm up. So it's still a lead for the side of 100 Thieves, but Arrow's making sure he's not falling abysmally far behind.
And the only reason that Arrow and Big are able to push back out is because Aphromoo recalled on a very specific timing here. He wanted to upgrade his Frostfang as soon as possible, because you want to harass as hard as possible and get as much money out of this Ezreal and Bard lane, throwing all this poke down as early as you can. So 5 minutes in, he goes back and he gets the Frostfang upgrade, plus these extra health potions to keep up that bottom lane pressure. Meteos, though, is on the bottom side, trying to clear out some of this vision to hopefully curb some of that aggression.
Meteos will explode the blast cone in the 100 Thieves jungle, just making sure that the Thieves aren't able to use that for an extra gank path. Amazing still clearing out the Gromp. Will tick level 5 with that one. Means the junglers are on even footing here. Once again, Meteos did have that lead up until the camp fell.
And Meteos does have vision now onto Amazing, because he got that deep ward onto the Raptor camp, which sees him right now. So both junglers aware of the positioning on bottom half. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, actually.
Waiting for those level 6s here, too. Seeing who's going to tick them first. Meteos looking to maybe make the opportunity happen onto Ryu. It's flash for flash, but Amazing's finding himself a counterattack, having to flash away now. And first blood for OpTic Gaming.
Look at that coordination between OpTic. Right on the minion kill. Go for the all-in onto Ryu. Flash used by Meteos with no hesitation. And they get the first blood for Crown. We talked about him having to have a reset after their opening game of the day. Crown got camped. He got killed maybe 6 times in the first 10 minutes. But Meteos makes sure it doesn't happen on the Rek'Sai. Tunnels in, goes for the flash. And Crown, even though he doesn't get the chain onto Ryu, who is the initial target, it's actually better to go on the jungler, because jungler level 5 is squishier, and he's able to make even the stolen ultimate off of Karma find the extra damage for the kill and the first blood.
Yep, it was that mantra'd inner flame that found that last 200 HP to bring him down, but bottom lane is still singing the same old song it has been for the past 7.5 minutes, and that is turret plates constantly being chipped away here by the side of 100 Thieves. Ryu's getting the better of Crown in this trade back and forth, but he's so low on mana, he doesn't want to take it too much further. And even though OpTic are the first ones on the board in terms of kills, when you look at the farm advantages, when you look at the state of bottom lane in particular, you see why 100 Thieves are still in the lead for gold.
Meanwhile, top side, let's see if anything happens here as far as the invade. Amazing circles around, doesn't gank for doesn't pull off the gank onto Dhokla. There was a control ward in the river here, and they were fairly worried about the 2v2 popping up. If there is a possible counter gank, it's kind of dangerous. Other than that, though, I say go for that every time. With Renekton Jarvan, it makes it very difficult for Aatrox, even with the flash. Right now, though, Crown roams the bottom,
And Bard does what Bard does best. He opens up a portal, gets himself out of trouble, but they still get the flash out of Bang, who wanted to be better safe than sorry, not risking the 4-man collapse from OpTic being successful.
Huge gold lead opening up in the bottom lane from all the poke, plus the tower plate that did go down. Meteos, like we talked about, with this Rek'Sai, you got to be on the warpath early. He's going for these early ganks. He used his flash super aggressively, got that successful kill, and he's trying to keep up the pace.
And speaking of pace, I think this tells the story of 100 Thieves' bottom side plan the best. When you look at the inventory of Bang, there's not an early tier here. It was straight up Sheen rush as opposed to getting those stacks early on, simply because he wanted more poke power, more pressure in that bottom side to continue looking for those plates, looking for that turret damage. Once again, though, OpTic are thinking about moving up into enemy territory. Maybe they can find something in the jungle to back away. They realize they don't have the backup they need around here just yet, as Crown will continue just farming up here in the mid lane, trying to deal with Ryu as best as he can. Ryu with the blue buff here on Karma means he can spam to his heart's content, clear these waves away, and just apply pressure that way. Once again, not going to hit the mark on the inner flame, though.
Yeah, doesn't find that one. Crown will be happy to take those minions at the tower. Junglers do converge over the Scuttle Crab, but doesn't look like there'll be any action in the top lane. I do like that FakeGod has gone for the rush of the Executioner's Calling. He goes for this exchange, does stop Dhokla, and his jungler's on the way. They're going to be the first one.
Here we go! It's an all-in on Dhokla. The Aatrox still has flash available. There's your summoner spell. That's what Amazing was waiting for. He didn't want to go in and just EQR onto something that was going to be flashing away. Instead, they take the summoner. They say, all right, we'll come back later.
Yeah, that's pretty big there. Aatrox without the flash will be a sitting duck because of the dangerous nature of this melee 1v1 and because of this rush of the Executioners here on the side of FakeGod. It is going to put a lot of pause into the mind of Dhokla when he goes for any sort of trade. I mean, usually you can count on your self-healing for Aatrox to sustain you up. World Ender, when you pop it, increases your self-healing by 50% now after the changes where they took away the revive. So Executioner's Calling is going to have a lot of value even in the 1v1.
100 Thieves will continue applying this pressure bottom side, though, clearing out those wards in the tri-brush. Aphromoo and Bang recognizing how far underneath the turret Arrow and Big are constantly stuck, using every chance they can get to step up and fight for this vision. As Meteos moves forward, going over his own control ward means he knows he's not seen. They're waiting to see if maybe Aphromoo walks over and tries to recontest the tri-brush.
And look at Aphromoo's positioning. He's staying next to the wall in perfect positioning for these magical journeys. Usually being pinned against that wall is a very dangerous spot for an AP support. However, he knows he can get out. The speed of the magical journey was upped a little bit. FakeGod actually on the ward, but he is the top laner, so maybe it kind of works because at least the jungler is not showing and Amazing did sneak into the side brush. Regardless, though, I don't see a world where Dhokla ever plays aggressively. His flash was blown, and they don't have vision of the Jarvan, so there's no way that Dhokla ever, steps out of line there.
And with the enemy jungler having been just seen top, OpTic recognizes their opportunity to go after the Drake here on the bottom side of the map. FakeGod and Amazing still walking around the top side river, deciding maybe Shelly is the call here, try to get objective for objective in trade. Dhokla will throw down a control ward, which 100 Thieves will immediately answer. Dhokla heads back into the top side, and Shelly will be dropped here as OpTic try to collapse.
Yeah, really good answer here from OpTic. Because they had the extra information, they deny the objective trade. That is supposedly going to be a mountain for a Rift Herald. However, with the roam there from Big, they did pull them off of the Rift Herald.
Ryu's in some trouble here as Big's coming in to try to provide the extra gank assist. As now more damage coming in from the side of 100 Thieves. Big's probably going to get rooted up here, but Ryu's got to be careful. He's down to about 400 HP. More damage going through. Nice stopwatch. Going to block Amazing's initiation. He throws down the Cataclysm, but exhaust is too much. And 100 Thieves lose their first man in the fight. OpTic have managed to disengage here so far. Big and Meteos are low, but the Thieves cannot capitalize on this just yet. They still have advantage in terms of pressure here in the mid lane. Bang will look to continue to find poke and damage onto this tier 1 turret, but he won't get much else.
Woo! Close one right there, Crown. Not a lot of room to dodge, but does walk up and avoids the damage from Bang's ultimate. with that kill, OpTic almost even up the gold here, pretty much dead even. And that was a really big bait by Big with the Braum. Another classic stopwatch usage. You deny the enemy team. You make them stick around for a lot longer than intended with all of your summoners and your escapes available. Notice that Big still holds onto the flash, still has the jump here on Braum. So he ults first, and as Amazing commits, he's able to stopwatch, avoid the knockup, but then he's able to flash out of his own Cataclysm there. The answer kill for OpTic in a scenario where they got jumped on and Big was in a very dangerous spot. That's why they always take these stopwatches to try and come up with those game-changing plays.
Very, very well played there by Big, but now that the stopwatch is down, 100 Thieves are aware that that can't happen here again next time. Amazing both the deaths that have occurred so far in this game, and both of them have honestly been his choice to go in. He's the one who chose to go after the Braum, whose stopwatch he could see in inventory. The same Braum that just stole away his side's blue buff. And earlier, during the first blood, he was the one who went in as well. The aggro changed to him. He wasn't able to get out in time. I want to see cleaner, tighter decision-making from him moving forward for the sake of the entire team because they need him to be on point.
Yeah, Big is definitely trying to get in their head right now. He's able to make that play and then steal away the blue buff with Braum. That's actually insane. Here we go, though. Back down to the bottom side. The Tristana's been able to stabilize from the early split map a bit, and Infinity Edge is the rush from Arrow. Now, I kind of like this rush because flat AD so effective for the jump in for all-ins. Tristana, especially with Braum, they have a very threatening commitment to all-in plays. You know, whenever a jungler's there, they can just flip the switch and decide to go jump in. Your Braum can also jump to your Tristana, who rocket jumps forward. And with the Infinity Edge, even if you get one of those lucky crits, it is a huge amount of burst damage from her full combo.
And I like it on Trist too, because even with only the level 2 rapid fire, the Q for Tristana, it's 65% attack speed for 7 seconds. Not having any attack speed in the build other than the Zeal that was just picked up isn't that big of a deal as it would be if you were some other champion. Lots of DPS potential here for this guy in the team fights. Let's see if 100 Thieves can make the play happen onto Dhokla up here. Dhokla has the flash available yet again. 100 Thieves weren't able to make another play onto top side before that summoner spell came back up, so Dhokla is once again feeling more comfortable in this lane.
Yep, and in another attempted gank onto Dhokla. I feel like we've seen this so often throughout the split. People trying to throw attention up there, but he's able to slip out without using any summoner spells this time, and he's gotten his flash back. He's gotten to level 11. Amazing this time around, though, wants to commit. Get that Rift Herald for themselves with the pass. Meanwhile, OpTic will take the tower and trade.
Yep, OpTic grabbing the tier 1 in the bottom side. That is going to be first turret of the game. We're 16.5 minutes in. It's pretty late for first turret. It means that there is not going to be extra plate money involved here. OpTic do need a little bit more time to put the last few auto attacks in this one. Tristana will push that wave up, and Arrow should manage to get this before 100 Thieves can use the Rift Herald to try to contest it. And there you go. First turret over to Tristana and OpTic Gaming.
Meanwhile, after taking the Rift Herald, it is used on the top side by Amazing to help out FakeGod finish up the counter kill on turrets and even it up for one-to-one turret trade for 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves should potentially be able to get another charge here, but nope, it looks like Dhokla's up into the top lane in time to stop Shelly from getting off that second headbutt. Meanwhile, OpTic are ready. As soon as this next Drake is spawning, they're already on it. Infernal will work nicely with this composition, having so many damage dealers on it, and Arrow is happy to pick that one up along with Meteos.
Another benefit there of trading bottom turret for top turret. Meteos with his eyes on the prize, always objective focused, and does get Dragon #2 for OpTic. Every single member on this team, save for Braum, will be very happy to have that one as they're building offensive stats. I have to say, though, on one item power spikes in the Aatrox versus Renekton, Renekton definitely has the edge in the 1v1. Spear of Sojin is insane 1v1 power because with your Empower W, all the swipes of your W lower the cooldown. And it stacks up so quickly for your burst potential. Meanwhile, Aatrox, with the cooldown reduction from Black Cleaver, is mostly, for team fights and shredding and a little bit longer for the value out of that item. So we'll see if 100 Thieves can take advantage of that fact. FakeGod on the Renekton with teleport should 100% be trying to force a 1v1 scenario and try and split the map.
Yeah, I mean, Black Cleaver is a fantastic item. It is pretty much the ball of stats item for the Bruiser class. At the same time, if you are a Bruiser that gets good use out of Spear of Shojin, it changes the way your team fights fundamentally work and just turns you into this massive machine gun of abilities. And I want to see FakeGod pop off with that if 100 Thieves is going to find themselves in a winning fight. Because OpTic Gaming are the ones turning things around. They're the ones putting themselves in positions where the fights are under their control. And Bang will just continue farming up here against Arrow in the mid lane on this Ezreal, trying to get to the point where he can become that mid-game powerhouse.
Yeah, basically all you have to keep in mind for the Renekton, if you want to go your Spear of Shojin, is charge up your Rage and then pop your ultimate for your W, but here they go, Amazing gets a kill!
Chain CC, the enemy support, no stopwatch, no stasis, no way out. Ryu putting the hurt on Dhokla here as well. Aphromoo moving around and down, trying to pick up this kill. The TP gets channeled. Are the Thieves gonna stop this one? Nice stun there coming out from Aphromoo. Crown steals the ulti away, but he's only gonna catch Amazing out on that one. The magical journey could be taken through the wall, but Amazing's not even concerned with it. OpTic do rotate their mid laner down in time to keep themselves protected. However, they cannot protect that tier 1 turret.
100 Thieves take another turret and they start to close in, increasing their gold lead. So it's the 2 dragon advantage for OpTic versus all this extra gold that 100 Thieves can fund some of their
Oh, that was clutch! Flash away from Arrow will manage to keep him alive, but Aphromoo just turned him to gold in the air, and because he's so much heavier, kaboom! He slams right back down.
Definitely like that interaction. As he's able to drop him down, it does get the summoner spell out, but that is just a summoner spell. Not able to complete any sort of kill there. Tristana will have to play a little bit more defensively, but Arrow pretty happy to get out with his life after that one. Again, 100 Thieves. They want to get FakeGod out into that solo lane, as well as Ryu. With an Ezreal Bard in mid lane, it's actually quite nice if they can just keep up some of these wards around them, have a lot of possibilities for harassment. Amazing, meanwhile, gets hit.
No, Amazing gonna be in some trouble here yet again. Saves the EQ combo to get himself away here in time. Aphromoo putting himself on the right angle to make sure they're able to chain CC. Meteos, who goes into the invulnerability here on the ultimate, still gonna be brought down anyway. Amazing continuing the chase. But 100 Thieves will be happy with that single pick.
You see Aphromoo with that Bard damage, the electrocute procs, he gets the stun onto the wall. That is a kill on the enemy jungler. Baron is up, but it looks like they have their eyes set on the tower instead. Not gonna threaten onto the Baron, and that is gonna allow OpTic to go for the reset. Looks like Tristana is heading back to base to finish up the rapid fire cannon. Teleports back out for the defense. Will they go for the dive?
OpTic trying to defend this one. Amazing off to the side. True Shot Barrage fired away into the minion line, trying to stop the push onto the turret, and OpTic will hold on.
Ultimate comes through for Bang. Once again, some harassment, but OpTic pretty happy to weather that storm while Meteos is down with just a little bit of damage onto the turret. 100 Thieves get the kill. They get a bit more money, but not able to convert on another objective quite yet.
OpTic making sure they keep this game as close as they can, pushing up now towards that tier 1 of the side of 100 Thieves. Arrow is able to do plenty of damage with these explosive charges. Aphromoo goes for the same trick again, but doesn't quite have it aimed at the right spot this time. Arrow just barely manages to escape there with the rocket jump. Aphromoo still looking for the chance to go in. That's a very nice initiation! Amazing lives up to his name and finds 2!
Yeah, he goes for the EQ and flashes in to make sure there's no timing for a response. Look at Meteos and Big. Both of them with flashes available, but Amazing used his first.
And Aphro follows up with his to make sure by the time those bodies hit the ground, they are stunned together. There is no way to escape. And OpTic, 3v5, no jungler alive, have to try to contest this Baron take. 100 Thieves have it below half. 100 Thieves are forcing the issue, and Dhokla's trying to initiate. He goes into the stasis to buy himself a little bit of time, but he is going to be taken down. FakeGod grabs the kill, but the Thieves are forced away.
Thieves get a bunch more gold, another kill down here, but in the end, again denied an objective. So OpTic Let's see what they can get. Counter push here, goes down mid lane. I think they're going to take that mid lane turret during this replay. Let's take another look. Amazing, goes in. Talked about it. He flashes first, gets the knock up. Aphromoo is on the same page. They're calling for the initiation, so he's able to flash in and answer it with the Bard there. Finds the double stun. It is going to be OpTic actually opting for this dragon. Delay here from Aphromoo. FakeGod heads down. They've got no smite.
Aphromoo daring them to stick around. It is going to be secured by the side of OpTic Gaming. Well played by these guys. Even when it appears that 100 Thieves is in the driver's seat, these guys are sneaking their way over to these objectives and continuing to control every Drake.
Another trade, Captain Flowers. More gold for 100 Thieves with their kills, but more dragons for OpTic. And that Baron, if whoever wins the next team fight, you know, especially with double Mountain Drakes on the side of OpTic, they will be able to burn down that Baron. The rewards could be very big.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at as the Drakes. It's not just full control over them, it's the type that you have. This means that if OpTic Gaming have even a 10-second window, less than that, before 100 Thieves are able to rotate over towards the Baron pit, it's so quick to take that Baron right from underneath their noses. But it's 100 Thieves that keep their foot on the gas pedal. It's 100 Thieves that are, again, pressuring onto the mid lane tier 1 turret. It's amazing going in with the Cataclysm, going to be trapping a couple members of OpTic. However, because of the fact that the minions are away, because of the fact the dive was disjointed, OpTic continue to hold on.
It's a lot of cooldowns used there at the tower. 100 Thieves. They use a Renekton ult also. Dhokla now looking to fight FakeGod. No ultimate on Renekton means the Spirit Sojourn does not provide value.
Aphromoos in some trouble. OpTic Gaming may have found their initiation after all. Amazing's going to be taken down next. And OpTic have two. FakeGod with the flash over the wall to stay alive. And now it's OpTic who are in the same spot the Thieves once were. Enemy jungler dead. 5v3. Baron's the call.
All right, let's see how it goes on the side of OpTic. 100 Thieves are trying to push down mid lane instead. They're going to give OpTic this Baron in exchange for the turret. No, they're right.
I don't know if that's the right choice. Braum's Unbreakable is up. Baron Nashor secured. OpTic Gaming in control.
And the tables have turned. OpTic able to get their own initiation onto Aphromoo. No flash on this Bard. All the ultimates were just used by 100 Thieves under that turret. And Aphromoo going for the Rasmus onto Arrow. Doesn't see Meteos, who comes from the control ward in the river. Immediately gets that knock up and forces the engage for OpTic.
This felt so haphazard from the Thieves, sticking around without Jarvan ult, without Renekton ult, without these tools, after having botched the dive in the mid lane, and OpTic are able to find the way to punish that. The mistake from Thieves for sticking around, the good play as a team from OpTic to punish, now puts them in a spot where everybody's baroned up and ready to go, and the push is on, and the Thieves have to defend.
Looks like they should be able to get the top side, no problem there with Crown split pushing on the Sylas. As you can see on the mini-map, teleport is available. He's going to be able to get that one, so no commitment from the rest of OpTic. They should play defensively while they're at a 4 versus 5 disadvantage in the mid lane. It allows Crown to get that turret uncontested.
Crown continuing to push up here. Checking back with what we said at the start of the game, the man had a very rough first game of the day against Cloud9. We mentioned the need to mentally reset, be in a spot to be the carry that so often brings OpTic to their victories. And this game, he's sitting on 1-0-3. Full kill participation here on the Sylas. Again, going to steal a pretty valuable ultimate there in the Cataclysm of Amazing. 100 Thieves trying to place down this vision, trying to defend in their own jungle.
Yeah, you always have to watch out for the Bard ultimates picking someone off in the jungle. It makes it way easier to land a good long-range Bard ultimate in that jungle because the corridors are so small, there's not as much room to dodge. So OpTic are trying to clear out this vision, but they have to be careful in doing so, not to split up and open themselves up from the 100 Thieves counterattack.
OpTic currently sitting on a plus 3,000 Baron power play with still over a minute left to go. But critically, they haven't even breached the tier 2 turret line. The worry with Baron is always, can we keep our base intact? Are we able to defend the inhibitor line of turrets and prevent that extra super minion pressure from becoming a reality once Baron wears off? And right now, the Thieves are still hanging on to that hope. They still have these defenses standing as OpTic will be repelled from mid lane once again.
Meanwhile, they've got Dhokla moving up that bottom side. Opposite side of the map here, they're 4-1ing. Got the Baroned up minions to the tower, and everyone rotates over from the mid lane defense. Now OpTic have the numbers.
FakeGod standing alone and bursted down. He was way too far forward.
Yeah, there's no vision. Again, we talked about OpTic controlling this jungle area, so they're able to make the transition easily over from mid lane down to kill FakeGod at the bottom siege. They made it look so easy there with that extra knockup. Braum goes right in. Level 16 now on the Sylas. And OpTic are still pushing ahead with this Baron. 4.6k gold off of this Baron power play.
They would love to take down the last 25% of this turret's health bar. Arrow would love to put even more auto attacks into this tier 3 here on the bottom side. Aphromoo makes a very small portal there for himself. Tier 2 falls, Baron dissipates. And man, OpTic Gaming made a lot happen with that when it went slow up until that final minute. But as soon as FakeGod gets caught, that's 2 tier 2s into a Drake pickup afterwards. This team is 4 for 4. Remember, Dragon respawns are every 5 minutes, so one more is still going to be coming up before we hit the point of the Elder Drake. And the Thieves have to find a way to recover unless they are going to just let OpTic Gaming continue building up this pressure. Tier 1 turret will finally fall. Thieves have been sieging against this thing for so long. OpTic will finally concede that one. But they've bought themselves so much time. Look at Tristana's items. Look at Aatrox. You've still got your Rek'Sai with the stopwatch ready to go to start the fights. OpTic is damn scary.
Yeah, meteos definitely going to be looking to make some plays here because in addition to the stopwatch, he has the flash on that Rek'Sai. And we've seen how much the burst potential for OpTic has to actually just annihilate 100 Thieves member before they even fall back down from that knockup. Everybody has to be so cognizant of their positioning right now. Both teams, 100 Thieves are looking for their initiation with Amazing. Over and over, he has done it with the flash from Jarvan. Can they do it one more time? OpTic are in the driver's seat right now. Both teams now fighting for the chance to continue their playoff run, for the chance at that final tiebreaker of the day.
And with the game so close and with so much on the line, we need to check what resources are available. It's all 10 summoner spells on the side of 100 Thieves, 9 on the side of OpTic. One of their teleports is not up. Crown won't have that one here for a little while, but that's the only advantage 100 Thieves will have in that department. Ryu up in the top side, clearing these minions away. Remember, the base of 100 Thieves is still intact, but that bottom lane turret is really hurting. If somebody gets even a moment of alone time with that thing, the Tristana or the Sylas, anybody can blast this thing down. Baron also live here in 15 seconds with OpTic having control over pretty much the entire map.
They get the reset off there. Dhokla back to base, coming back now on Aatrox. Level 16, also with the teleport ready. Both teams on mid lane here, looking for the possible flank. Reminder that this Bard ultimate can be used for the advantage within the team fight as well, to try and take out multiple members of the enemy team. For those few seconds, you turn the numbers in your favor.
There's also always the miracle that happened last time of the Jarvan flash plus the Bard flash to set up those crazy initiations with no chance for the counterplay from your opponents. 100 Thieves will have to do it just right, as we saw before. OpTic still sitting on a 3,500 gold lead. Still having plenty of money on these two carries. Deathless, both Crown and Arrow, 32 minutes into this game.
I want to point out that on the bottom side of the map, FakeGod setting up for this possible Baron. He's pushed the minion wave for 100 Thieves all the way up to that bottom turret, and he's roaming up behind OpTic now. The flank is here. They're going for it.
Dhokla's on the side, but Ryu's going to be in some trouble, having to get himself away. Thieves are going to be really in a bad spot. FakeGod's trying to find the flank, but he's not able to get anything just yet. The front line of Thieves disengages. OpTic find themselves a kill onto the enemy mid laner, and now they're hiking straight towards Baron yet again.
OpTic are more focused in that fight. They see it coming. They get the victory. Baron now in their sights. meteos getting taken down to 30% HP, but they should be able to finish it.
meteos is low, but there's no way for 100 Thieves to contest this. Not 4v5. Not against what OpTic has built for themselves in this gold lead, in this Drake lead, and in fights like this.
And look at that. They used the ultimate kind of early, Big is able to get just the end of the Braum ultimate for the knockup, and Dhokla on Aatrox right from the river. Big initiation there from OpTic. And 100 Thieves were just a second off. FakeGod was on the roam up, not quite in position yet. Bard ultimate doesn't tag anyone, so there's no lockdown on the side of 100 Thieves. The timing on those team fights is so critical. They don't pull it off, and now OpTic are coming for the base. They're coming for that victory.
OpTic with 5.5 items on a Tristana at level 16 is a scary place for 100 Thieves to be. They're looking to maybe get a flank here yet again. FakeGod off to the side. Meteos gonna lose about a third of his HP there to the power of the True Shot Barrage. Ryu loses half of his. Ryu, the man who got exploded in the last fight, led OpTic to the point where they're able to be where they are now, having this Baron pushing up like this. Dhokla providing the pressure in the bottom lane while the rest of OpTic pushes towards this mid lane tier 3. So many auto attacks from Arrow, so damn fast. 100 Thieves trying to find their chance. Nice stun coming out, but it's only really going to lock down Big. Dhokla goes over the wall, but he could be in some trouble. He's going to be locked down, taken low. Banks now going to be bursted out. Shut down over to Arrow. And surely this is it. The Thieves fought valiantly, but OpTic Gaming have won the fight. They'll continue pushing into the base. Crown is low, but everybody else is looking good. OpTic will keep this push alive. Ryu tries to snipe Arrow from around the flank, but he's wise to the Karma's tricks. The push continues. The Nexus turrets fall, and OpTic Gaming will look to bring down 100 Thieves and move on to the next tiebreaker match.
OpTic win to fight another game.
An impressive showing from this team, particularly from these carries. Again, deathless by the end of the game. Arrow 4-0-4 on this Trist, 1-0-8 for Crown's Sylas. The team worked together. They found their opportunity to punish the overexertion, the overextension from 100 Thieves, and they will move on to play Golden Guardians in the final match of the day to see if they can secure that 6th spot.
And so much of this game hinged on the initiation for those critical team fights around the mid lane. Both teams back-to-back successful ones, but OpTic get the final victory there around the river. Dodge out from the Bard ultimate and get the counter initiation with Braum and Aatrox destroying that back line. Every second in those final team fights means the difference between win and a loss. If someone is that much delayed, you're not going to be able to make it.
And now the challenge for OpTic is, okay, let's prepare for Golden Guardians. You've got all of one game to do it. This is where the pressure's really on. This is what tiebreakers come down to. It's an extreme mental exercise as much as it is a mechanical exercise in your ability to play League of Legends.
Yeah, the adrenaline is pumping now. It is crunch time, right? They've got one game to prepare. Think about the next possible strategy here. Try and analyze the Golden Guardians. We'll see what they come up with.
Well, they managed to come up with a way to beat the Thieves, even though the Thieves were ahead during the mid-game. It's not like this game wasn't close. 100 Thieves were the ones with pressure for so long, but it came down to that mid-lane mistake, overstaying after trying to dive the tier 1 turret that gave OpTic that opportunity to punish, that let them get the first Baron. That's where the game felt like it just broke to me, and OpTic started to run away with things. But for more on the huge win, Latigris is ready for an interview with the victorious support.
I'm sure Big's feeling pretty great after that game, but I know the journey's not over yet, so we'll keep it nice and short for you here on the stage. First things first, 100 Thieves, they are trying to speed things up with the aggressive itemization top. What were you doing personally to keep this game at your own pace?
I was just trying to take things slow for us and just make sure that everything we do, it's like on our terms, not on theirs.
And then also you do have another opponent coming up later. The journey's not over yet with Golden Guardian. So from now until then, what are some things that you're trying to keep in mind for your prep?
I'm just trying to think about like what we need to do to win and not to like get caught up in the moment.
All right, well, I know you got to get caught up with your teammates going into that. So let's send things over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you, Latigris. One game down for OpTic as they take the victory over 100 Thieves, give themselves the opportunity to play Golden Guardians in not too long for that 6th and final spot in the playoffs. This is very much more the OpTic Gaming, though, that we want to see when we talk about them being a playoff contender.
Yeah, and obviously it has to come down to the basically fighting for their life matchup for them to play the champions that have actually worked for them. After this game, Aatrox with Dhokla, 5-2. His most played, more than Poppy. Big on the Braum, way better, way more mobile than other champions. And it's just crazy to see that. I hope they finally remember that this is what's getting them wins. It's not all the other crazy experiments around.
I mean, Dhokla also had a good Akali game as well this week.
Really? Yeah.
So, like, I think he, on champions that have a little bit more agency, has been stepping up a lot more. I also like that for Crown as well. The Azir, great champion. Please give him the Sylas. I want Crown to have the ability to make his own plays because he is such a good player. And I think all those factors coming together allowed them to win this game because it was a very hard-fought game. They did need to have a good draft.
I think that is a very key point, though, too, that this was hard-fought. It didn't necessarily come easily. Both teams were making moves in the early game. We saw Amazing throwing attention to a couple different lanes. Yes, some of those early skirmishes would go the way of OpTic, but these are more the mid-game skirmishes when teams are fighting for those objectives.
Yeah, the problem for OpTic was after they found that great pickoff, they tried to force a Baron. It didn't work because they don't have quite enough damage to actually go force a Baron, and they didn't have any dragons.
Dhokla.
On the meantime,
Meteos.
OpTic, when they get their 2-for-0 in the mid lane, they're able to actually go and grab a Baron off it because they have so much more damage, and they got 3 Drakes before this.
Yeah, they learned their lesson against CLG. But a weird thing for me about 100 Thieves is the draft as well. Like, Ryu just saved your ass last game playing Akali, right? He's playing carries, he's doing a lot of work. And now you throw him on Karma, and then you get FakeGod on the Renekton. Like, this does not work for me. FakeGod is not the player that's going to smash lane and transition later. He's going to be a little bit more scaling or lose lane gracefully. So I feel like they just got too confused thinking, how do we play around Bard? Is Bard the way that we snowball very quickly? I think that was their game plan. And
I was excited by the Bard pick, right? With the recent changes to Bard, and obviously we know that Aphromoo is quite the expert on the champion. There was definitely the opportunity for him to run away with the game, or at least put his laners in a position to do so. But I love this, the point you raise around where teams decide to put the game-winning potential when everything's on the line, right? Who are they going to empower to take the game?
Well, that was my problem with the 100 Thieves draft is who did they empower?
And they're a late game team too.
Yeah, well, so like you have a Karma mid, not a great carry by itself. Ezreal is, best actually on his own, not when teams are putting resources into an Ezreal. And then a Renekton who's not a late game threat. They didn't actually have very good options in the late game. And when they actually played the mid game better than OpTic, between 15 and 25 minutes, they actually outplayed OpTic.
Yeah.
But then it didn't lead to anything because, like, who are you snowballing the gold into on this team?
It felt like the attempt was top lane. We did see that one gank go to top lane, the flash taken out from the Aatrox. But again, if you can't get that Renekton snowballing to the point where he can basically do as he pleases in any given team fight, then I start to fail to see where the late game win conditions are. And you began to see that within the game itself. I do want to jump to 100 Thieves, though, and talk about their season ending. Because while they do exit in 8th place, we were just having this discussion before coming on air, they don't feel like an 8th place team.
Really?
Well, 8th sounds unbelievably low for how well this team have been performing in the back half of this split. They're 5-4. It's a positive win rate. If you did that for an entire split,
Right, you'd be 10-8.
you're in the playoffs. And so that's why when you see this team, 8th sounds like you weren't even close to playoffs. When in reality, they're in a tiebreaker to make playoffs.
That's more what I mean. I think it is believable, quite obviously. They lost to the tiebreakers. They lost to some of the teams above them, most recently in the standings. They don't deserve to be in playoffs.
But they beat CLG today.
But exactly. Like, you're looking at a squad that, again, still has the potential to challenge top playoff teams.
I'm going to challenge that because I think the idea of an 8th place team is more of a feeling that, okay, there's 10 teams. It feels bad to be at the bottom of that. But that just means to me that they're better than 2 teams in the league consistently. And the fact that they beat CLG doesn't mean much to me. Team Liquid lost to Echo Fox at the start of the season, right? That we don't really count that.
Yeah.
So the fact that 100 Thieves has been this inconsistent, even though they struggle so much in spring, to me says that, yes, they are indeed an 8th place team because they were not able to take down all the other teams above them. They really just were so wishy-washy.
They started 0-5 with different players playing.
That's not an 8th place team to you?
A 0-5 team would be, but they swapped out 40% of their roster, 2 players, to become this team, which unfortunately started a peg under other teams because if this was their roster from the very beginning, I bet 100 Thieves is the playoff team, which is why it feels weird to call them.
I think that is the point. And I don't want to get bogged down in this conversation because they are leaving, and we should talk about, again, OpTic and the fact that they do have one more game to play to get into playoffs. That game is against Golden Guardians. We heard from Big there in the interview. It's all about focusing on themselves. And I think, to your point, Crumbs, they found what works for them. It's about, can they replicate that? And what will Golden Guardians do to stop what we just saw?
They need to learn what OpTic did, right? Remember what worked for you in your wins, repeat it. This is not the time to experiment. Playoffs, the best of fives is the time to experiment, not in this matchup. Golden Guardians was a team that was hyped to be a top 3 team at the start of summer. Rechannel that.
There you have it. There you have it. OpTic Gaming have bought themselves some life, and they're going to one more tiebreaker. We are heading to a break. When we return, it's the clash between Cloud9 and CLG for the final playoff bye. Don't touch that browser.